I promise you, your parents will do everything they can. I promise you, your parents would really like to do a lot more for you, but you kind of have to earn it, right? Because that's kind of how the world works. Nothing comes for free, right? So if you are on the getting allowance part of it, you have to earn that allowance. The only thing I tell my kids is bring me home respectable grades, right? Respectable A's, B's, C's, pluses, whatever. Respectable. That means you made an effort, right? That means that you're going to school for a purpose. Because if you focus now in school, whenever you get through college, you may not have to pay for it. And if you get through college, you will have a higher income earning potential. Right? If you don't, then you're going to have less income earning potential. Why is that important? Why is that important now at your age? If you focus in your academics now, right? Because it translates. If you have the mindset now in your academics, even if you don't feel like doing your homework, all those other assignments, why is it important to do it now? Yes.
When you graduate, you might get like a scholarship. If you get a scholarship, you don't necessarily have to pay for everything.
Would that make your parents happy?
Yeah.
So if you didn't and your parents had to pay for college, it's going to cost them about $300,000. Okay? So just understand the power of you and your academics right now can make a difference in the level of income that we want you to start earning later. All right. So it's having the mindset now to apply yourself and have good habits so that you can have good income earning potential. People that have wealth, people that have money have more than one income stream. They have money from their careers, but they also have a side business like myself doing a catering job or having something else that they do. They may be in a band or be a musician. So you have more than one ways of making money. In case one fail, you still have another income source. So don't be, and I'm probably going against the grain here because we want you to go to school. We want you to be successful academically, but don't always rely on one income source. I can't just rely on my job to make money. Fortunately, I know how to do painting, landscaping, catering. So there's other things I can do if I was to lose my job. People lose their jobs every day. So find out what your passion is, find out what other ways that you can do to help create other income streams. And most importantly, start thinking about investing now. It don't have to be a lot. Get into the habit of investing. So instead of you going out and wanting to buy Nike and Jordans and McDonald's, why don't you start in researching their company and consider buying their stock? At least you'll have a vote. All right. So you're being savers and investors as opposed to spenders. So that's the first message. Be a saver and investor and not so much spending. All right. Any questions? As I sip my water. I know I said a mouthful. I kind of cut it short. So the big takeaway is spend less than what you bring in. All right. See what you're spending your money on, tracking it. You may realize you're spending too much on personal maintenance or whatever it is. Be able to know how you're spending your money. Save and invest. Because if you do that, you won't need a credit card to get yourself into trouble with. Crickets. Any questions from anyone on the remote side of town? I'm open for all questions. You have me today. You're tired, sleepy? Was there something that you learned? We gave you a nice workbook in here with some notes.
Jemiah or Ari, do you guys have questions for Mr. Fisher? He can't hear you, but I can, so just let me know. Right, they said no.
Okay. Any of the adults have any questions? I want to leave some takeaways. I think this is the takeaway right here. This is my business, the best foundation. Everything has to have a foundation, right? Everything has to have a plan. You have to plan how to use your money. You have to plan what you're going to do with the money. And you have to plan not to get yourself in debt. You have to plan to have emergency you can put your hands on so that you don't have to use a credit card. Because you'll need credit cards. I mean, you need credit cards, but don't have to rely on them to extend your lifestyle. And while we're doing that, we'll help you build credit. And I'll talk about credit the next time, because credit is more than just you getting a good interest rate. Credit is a reflection of your character. It helps you when you go on job interviews. It helps you when you get your first apartment. If it's good, then you're going to have a good start in life. Omega, you're looking at me like you have some questions. Okay. I don't have anything else to add, but I want to stick around in case there's some things you want to kind of run by me. But before I do that, I want everybody to give me one takeaway, starting with you. Give me one takeaway about what we talked about today.
If you overspend, you're gonna end up broke.
You're going to end up being in debt. Devin, give me a takeaway about all this information I threw at you today. Well, no, you have to eat. The food was an example of tracking what you're spending your money on. Because if you don't track your spending and do a budget, then you won't know where that money goes. It'll just dissipate. Give me an example.
Like eating off DoorDash a lot or buying certain.
That's a really good one. Here's what I said. Do you have a bank account? So you ever look at the bank statement and say, well, what is she spending the money on? You ever highlight and just kind of, oh, so that discussion's already taken place. All right. It's important to be able to see what you're spending your money on. I have friends that spend a lot of money traveling and going out and partying and doing all this stuff, and they're spending extra few $1,000s on things that's not even necessary, because that's money you can't get back. Omega, looking like my nephew. It's a good practice to get to where you can take 10% of your money and put it away. So I use an example. I gave everybody $5,000 salary, right? 10% of that is $500. So if you save 10% of your money for a year, right? How much money will you have? $6,000. What if you did it for 5 years? So you start mathing, and that's the well, more than that, because you have to look at the interest that you earn on that deposit. Or if it's invested, you can make 3 or 4 times what you deposited. You understand? So taking 10% of your money and saving and investing is going to give you more than $6,000 in a year. All right. If you do it for 2 years, you'll have more than that. So that way, the older version of you, when you really need that money, when it's time to get your car or to get your house, you have money, right? Because if you don't save that 10% and you're spending it on food and clothes and hair supply stuff and all that fun stuff and sneakers and Jordans, you won't have that money. So take 10% of your money and put it to the side and don't touch it. I'm going to go right down the list. What are you going to take away from today?
Oh,
Because you've been giving me great answers.
I guess. I don't know. I guess it's just good to like track of your money costs.
Keep track. What do you like to spend money on? Like at this point in your life, what do you like to spend money on? Buying her Bojangles?
I guess buying clothes.
Buying clothes. You ever do Shein and any other stuff too?
Every once in a while.
Okay. About yourself, what do you want to take away from today?
I took away that happiness is important. Who said that, Sarah? Yeah, who said that? Me. And you know,
Tracking is excellent, right?
that, like, overspending or that nobody else is spending.
what happens if you have a debit card because you have a checking account and you go to Dairy Queen for that $5 special? Use your debit card, but you're not tracking your spending, and you end up overdrafting. You know what I mean? To overdraft. I give an example. That Dairy Queen special is $10, right? Let's just say it's $5, but you only had $3 in your checking account. So you spent more than what your checking account allowed. So that means you overdrew, right? You went into the negative. What is the bank going to do? Are they going to let you have it for free? They're going to charge you a fee, right? How much is that fee, you think? If you overdraft by overspending out your checking account, how much is it going to cost you because you was hungry and you wanted that Dairy Queen special? This is a really important one. What's the bank fees? Give me a guess. What is it? Did you say $40? No, you got to go higher than that. Bank not going to give it to you that easy. You have $3 in your bank account. That's your balance. You went to Dairy Queen and spent $5 with your debit card. Okay? Food. You're hungry. So that puts you in the negative by what? $2, right? Guess what the bank's going to do? Take a guess. What are they going to charge you? This is real truth. From an adult, what are average overdraft fees from the bank? We charge $25 and we reduced it from $30. $35 is the bank average. So $2 plus $35 is a minus $37. Is my math right? So you in a negative $37 because you were hungry and you wasn't tracking your spending. This is what hurt people. Your checking account balance is in the negative by $37. You may not get that $35 back. But if it happens and it's your first time, and I'm your banker, because I said it's important to have a relationship, right? Mr. Fisher, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize that something else came from my account. I forgot about the Amazon thing that came through. And I thought I had more than $3, but I thought I had $15, but I bought stuff from Amazon and it just debited my account. Well, yeah, we charge a $35 fee. But since you're a good customer and I see you every day and I'm helping you with your goals, I'm going to waive this fee for you. All right? But I do need you to make a deposit so that you're not in the negative. You hear me? That's typically what happens. But you may get a break on one fee, maybe two. Some banks don't waive fees. All right? So that's $35 you will never, ever see again. How many of you want to take $35 and throw it in the fireplace? You don't want to do that, do you? That's just burning money, right? So overdraft fees is just as bad as interest, right? Being in debt with a credit card, paying all those extra interest charges, money you will never get back. Well, it works the same way with NSF fees. NSF means non-sufficient funds. NSF. That is a bad number right there. You don't want NSF fees. So when you have your checking account and you have a debit card, track your spending. Make sure that what you used with your debit card is accurate. Make sure you don't spend below a certain amount. But more importantly, there's this thing called overdraft protection. Who knows what that is? Overdraft protection. What does protection mean? What does protection mean? So what does that look like? So your checking account is where your money's at, right? Your checking, let's just say CKG. There's something there to come to the rescue if you go below. Overdraft protection. That could be a savings account. Remember that extra 10% that you were saving? How about that we put this as overdraft protection? So if you are hungry and you go into the negative, the savings account is going to come to the rescue by covering that difference. And that will keep you from getting $35. Do you understand that? So when you come see me at the credit union or at the bank or the person that handle your money, it's your money, or you should have a relationship. They're the ones to help you with those types of things. They don't want you to get overdrafts. I don't want you to get overdrafts. They don't want you to get overdrafts because it don't help your goals. That's an important fact because I see too many young people that don't know how the banking system works that's in the negative $100, $200, $300. And when that happens, because you don't pay it back in 30 days, if you go into negative on a bank account and you don't put that money back in place in 30 days, guess what the bank's going to do? Account closed. You want that to happen to you? Yes. So when you get your account, look at your bank statements. Make sure that you are stewards on how you manage your money. Yes, ma'am.
I do have one question for you.
Yes.
How policies sometimes fall into the trap of getting credit cards for t-shirts on campus.
Yes.
So my question is, credit cards aren't bad.
They're not.
When do you recommend would be a good time for young people to get their first credit card?
In my opinion, I think a credit card should be coordinated with the parent, right? Because the parent may have a relationship with someone at their bank that may have the right type of credit card for that student. And they may decide to be joint on it just to make sure it don't go into the negative or that you're not spending frivolously, right? They may say, hey, you're a student now. I don't want you calling home and cash apping all the time. There's a $1,000 credit card or $500 or $500 credit card only for emergencies and for you to get gas once a week or something, not for you to go to Myrtle Beach for bike week, right? They're going to look at all your charges, and that's helping you build credit, okay? So that's usually coordinated with the student because we know a lot of credit. There's a lot of different credit card programs. Some with no annual fee, less rate, no other hidden fees. So they're going to be smart about choosing the right card for that student. There are also options where that student, if they're over 18, can have a card on their own, and it's called a secured card. How that works is you have money, you have a job, you've saved $1,000, and you want a secured card. Let's say you want $500. We'll take $500 of your money. We'll take $550 of your money, put it in an account. You can't touch it because it's securing the use of that card. So if you don't pay it, we have your money. And that helps build credit as well. Secured loans, secured credit cards. Thank you for that, because credit cards are important, but not all of them are created equal. Some of them are terrible.
Any other questions? Well, let's give Mr. Fisher a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm all about impact. I want that, what I talk about, because it's real, right? I've been doing this for 35 years. And we talked about a mindset, right? About being broke and poor. I had a customer during COVID. During COVID, a lot of people lost their jobs. And I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the COVID crisis. I know you older folks do. So one of my big software engineers clients, their house was probably worth about $1 million. They had all the wonderful cars in the driveway. I mean, they were very successful. Both of them were software engineers. But during COVID, they both lost their jobs. And they may have had investments in emergency money to get them through, but eventually they sold the house and they sold off all the cars except one. No big deal, because they have a mindset that's not broke or poor. Once things got back on track, they recalibrated, got back on track, because they still have the potential to earn that income back, as opposed to take a victim mindset. No, woe is me, because life is going to happen. things are going to happen financially. It's going to knock you down from time to time, but it's all about having the right mindset to recover and not be a victim of circumstance. So you all are very scholarly. Just talking to you, I already know that you have some good intelligence. And that's what's going to give you the potential to be a good income earner, having the right mindset. Okay, so I can recognize that in you already. So thank you all. You have a good group of students.
They are.
A little quiet, but they're a good group.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Fisher will be back on December 13th for part 2. And he will discuss what do you have in mind for next session?
I want to get more into the spending and budget and credit portion of it, and talk about some of the reasons why people overspend and what it means to be financially healthy. Being financially healthy doesn't mean that you're rich. That means that you made the right choices to not be swimming in debt and still save money. So
Exactly.